Stop for a moment and reflect. You have spent decades of your life studying, graduated, got a stable job. And yet, at the end of the month, your bank account looks like a mirage in the desert, always moving away when you get closer. Why? Think about this. While you celebrate a 5% salary increase, inflation erodes your purchasing power by 8%. While you save hard to buy a new car, it loses 30% of its value as soon as it leaves the dealership. While you work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, others make their money multiply while they sleep. What do these people know that you don't? Robert Kiyosaki exposes a truth that few want to admit. Our educational system was meticulously designed to create excellent employees, obedient, dedicated, and perpetually dependent on a paycheck. School taught you to work for money, but it never taught you how to make money work for you. It's an almost perfect trap. You earn enough to survive, but not enough to escape. You receive enough to consume, but not enough to invest. You learn enough to operate within the system, but not enough to transform it. Ask yourself honestly, if you stopped working today, how long would you survive? 1 month? 3 months? 6 months? This is the brutal measure of your financial slavery. The financial education that Kiyosaki advocates is not just about understanding charts or memorizing stock market terms. It's about waking up to an alternative reality where money works tirelessly. For you, not the other way around. A reality where you no longer trade time for money because you finally understand that time is the only truly limited resource you have. Those who control finances control the game. And like any game, those who don't know the rules are destined to lose. While you keep playing by the rules you were taught, save, work hard, avoid debt, trust in retirement, the truly wealthy are playing a completely different game with opposite rules. True freedom begins when you realize you can rewrite these rules. You don't have to accept earning little, living anxiously for the next paycheck, or postponing your dreams until retirement. You can start today to build the foundations of your financial independence. As Kiyosaki provocatively asks, is your salary just an anesthetic for the pain of financial slavery? The choice is now yours. Continue on financial autopilot, programmed into you since childhood, or take control and reprogram your relationship with money, turning it from your master into your most loyal servant. How many times have you heard someone say, "I need to get a raise," or "I need a better paying job"? This is the trap that keeps millions of people stuck in the financial rat race. Robert Kiyosaki radically challenges this conventional thinking. He proposes a revolutionary idea. What if the main goal of your job was not the salary, but the knowledge you acquire? Think about it. When you choose a job just for the paycheck, you are essentially selling your time for money, the most limited trade that exists. You have only 24 hours a day, which places a definitive ceiling on how much you can earn. No matter how hard you work, this cruel limit will always exist. But when you work primarily to learn, something magical happens. You acquire skills that no one can take away from you, skills that can generate an income infinitely greater than any salary. Kiyosaki shares how in his youth he worked for free for his rich dad, not to make money, but to learn how to build businesses. While his colleagues celebrated 5% or 10% raises, he was quietly acquiring knowledge that would eventually multiply his income by 1,000%. The skills that truly matter are rarely taught in schools. Sales, the ability to persuade and influence. Leadership, the skill of inspiring and mobilizing teams. Marketing, the art of making your product or service stand out. And most importantly, investments, the science of making your money work tirelessly for you. Ask yourself, is your current job expanding these skills? Or are you just trading hours for a salary, becoming increasingly dependent on this vicious cycle? The uncomfortable truth is that many high-salary individuals are just 1 or 2 paychecks away from bankruptcy, because they never converted their income into true financial independence. They remain trapped in what Kiyosaki calls the luxury rat race, earning more but spending proportionally more, always dependent on the next influx of money. Transform your mindset. See every job, project, or business venture as a learning opportunity. Constantly ask yourself, what am I learning here that I can apply to build my own wealth in the future? As Kiyosaki provokes, the poor and middle class work for money, the rich make money work for them, and the path between these two worlds is paved not with diplomas or promotions, but with practical skills that open the doors to true financial freedom. Imagine you just received a significant raise or an unexpected bonus. What goes through your mind? A new car, a bigger TV, designer clothes. This instinctive reaction reveals why so many well-paid people never achieve true wealth. Kiyosaki identifies what he considers the greatest secret of the rich, a concept so simple that it seems obvious once you understand it, but so powerful that it can completely transform your financial life. The fundamental difference between assets and liabilities. Kiyosaki's definition is brutally simple and revolutionary. An asset puts money in your pocket, while a liability takes money out of your pocket. It couldn't be clearer. But this definition directly challenges what many of us were taught to consider as wealth. That house you go into debt for over 30 years, paying interest that doubles its original price. For Kiyosaki, it's not an asset, it's a monstrous liability that drains your cash flow month after month. That new car that loses 20% of its value the moment it leaves the dealership. A liability. That latest high-end smartphone, the wardrobe full of designer clothes, all liabilities. The rich think differently. They first acquire income-generating assets, rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, businesses that operate even while they sleep, intellectual property that generates royalties. The cash flow from these assets then funds their lifestyle. Ask yourself, where does your money go every month? To liabilities that drain your wealth, or to assets that multiply? This simple question explains why some millionaires live in modest homes, while high-salary individuals struggle to pay for their luxurious expenses. The middle class often falls into the trap of the appearance of wealth, the financed luxury. Car, the large mortgaged house, the maxed-out credit cards filled with status purchases. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy may appear modest on the outside, but own a strong column of assets generating constant income. Kiyosaki challenges you to completely redirect your financial focus. Build your asset column first. Even if it's small at the beginning, some stocks, a small rental property, a side business. The goal is to create a stream of income that eventually surpasses your expenses. As he often provokes, the rich buy assets, the poor and middle class buy liabilities they think are assets. Imagine waking up knowing that even if you don't work today, money will continue flowing into your account. This is the freedom that comes from truly understanding the difference between assets and liabilities and acting accordingly. Have you ever wondered why some people seem stuck in the same financial situation year after year while others thrive, even in tough times? The answer lies in a truth rarely discussed in career conversations or family dinners. The traditional system taught us an apparently safe formula: study, get a good job, work hard for 40 years, and then retire. But Kiyosaki exposes the hidden trap in this model. Relying on a single source of income is like building a table with only one leg. Any instability, and everything collapses. Consider this scenario. You wake up tomorrow and find out that your company has gone bankrupt or your position has been eliminated. How many months would you survive? This uncomfortable question reveals the danger of depending on a single paycheck. The truly prosperous have built what Kiyosaki calls multiple streams of income, money coming from various sources, many of which continue to flow even when they are not actively working. This is the essence of passive income. Imagine receiving rental payments from properties while you sleep. Visualize dividends being deposited into your account while you spend time with your family. Consider an online business serving customers 24/7 without requiring your constant presence. The average worker trades hours for money, a finite and limited exchange. The smart entrepreneur and investor create systems that generate money independently of their time, a potentially infinite multiplication. This shift in mindset requires abandoning the exclusive pursuit of security and embracing growth. Kiyosaki challenges: security is a myth. In the modern world, those who seek security face the greatest risk of all. Start small, but start now. A small investment in dividend-paying stocks, a modest rental property, a side business you develop on weekends. The goal is not to quit your job immediately, but to gradually build these alternative sources until your passive money exceeds your monthly expenses. This is the turning point that separates the working class from the truly financially free. The moment when your assets generate more than you need to live, freeing up your time for what truly matters. As Kiyosaki provocatively asks, do you work to live or live to work? Passive income is what finally allows you to choose the first option. Have you ever noticed how some people panic and sell everything when the market drops? Or how others rush to buy stocks or real estate when everyone is talking about the next big investment? These seemingly natural reactions reveal an uncomfortable truth about our relationship with money. Kiyosaki identifies what he considers one of the biggest obstacles to wealth: our own uncontrolled emotions, especially fear and greed. These two powerful forces can turn intelligent investors into irrational gamblers in seconds. Fear whispers, "What if you lose everything? Better keep your money under the mattress." Greed seduces, "Everyone is getting rich with this investment. You need to jump in right now." Both voices are equally dangerous when they take control. Think about how you reacted during the last economic crisis. Did you panic sell investments when prices were at their lowest? Or did you remain paralyzed, unable to seize the best buying opportunities of the decade? These emotional reactions are the exact opposite of what successful investors do. Warren Buffett, often quoted by Kiyosaki, sums up this principle perfectly. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. But following this advice requires something rarely discussed in financial conversations: emotional intelligence. Financial education is not just about understanding numbers and strategies. It's about developing the mental strength to act rationally when everyone around you is acting impulsively. It's about training your mind to see opportunities where others see only chaos. Kiyosaki does not advocate eliminating risk. He promotes understanding and managing it. The rich don't avoid risks, he argues. They learn to calculate risks. This subtle distinction explains why some people thrive during economic turmoil, while others are devastated by the same events. Practice self-control in small, daily financial decisions. Question your buying impulses. Examine your fears of investing. Develop the habit of pausing before making major financial decisions. As Kiyosaki warns, your brain can be your greatest asset or your greatest liability. The difference lies in who controls whom. Do you control your emotions about money, or do your emotions about money control you? This emotional discipline is what separates successful investors from those who are constantly reacting to news, headlines, and market trends. Always one step behind, always buying high and selling low, always wondering why others seem lucky while they don't. Have you ever wondered why, even with salary increases over the years, there never seems to be money left at the end of the month? This is one of the most frustrating financial mysteries most people face. The more they earn, the more they spend, always staying in the same place. Kiyosaki reveals a revolutionary principle that directly contradicts what we've been conditioned to do. Most of us receive a paycheck and follow a fatal sequence: pay rent, bills, debts, buy groceries, spend on small luxuries, and then nothing is left to invest. Pay yourself first radically reverses this order. Before any payment, before the mortgage, before utility bills, even before buying food, set aside a percentage of your money for investments. This money is sacred, untouchable, non-negotiable. But wait, you might be thinking, how can I do this if I can barely pay my bills? And this is exactly where the transformative power of this principle lies. When you pay yourself first, you create positive pressure that forces your creativity to find solutions for other obligations. The traditional method, paying everyone else first and investing whatever is left, almost always results in zero investments. Emergencies, temptations, or needs always arise to consume any surplus. Kiyosaki argues that this is the perfect recipe for working your entire life without ever building real wealth. Imagine two paths. You can work for 40 years only to realize you don't have enough to retire, or you can make small, consistent investments. Now that will grow exponentially over time, thanks to the miracle of compound interest. By paying yourself first, you are essentially hiring your own money as an employee, and tireless worker who operates 24/7 with no vacations or complaints. Unlike your salary, which has clear limits, there is no ceiling to how much this employee can generate over time. The beauty of this principle lies in automation. Set up automatic transfers to investments on the same day you receive your paycheck. That way, you don't even feel the pain of setting the money aside. It was simply never available for spending in the first place. As Kiyosaki provocatively asks, do you work to pay everyone else's bills except your own? This simple rearrangement of your payment priorities could mean the difference between a life of financial struggle and one of growing abundance. Have you ever wondered how some people manage to build financial empires seemingly from nothing? The secret often isn't how much they have to start with, but how they use a powerful principle Kiyosaki calls leverage, specifically the strategic use of other people's money, OPM. Think about it. The wealthy rarely rely solely on their own money to build wealth. This revelation directly contradicts what many of us have been taught about debt, that we should avoid it at all costs. Kiyosaki makes a crucial distinction that changes everything. There is good debt and bad debt. Bad debt drains your wallet like financing a new car that instantly depreciates, or racking up high-interest credit card debt for electronics and clothes. But good debt, it's a powerful tool that the wealthy use strategically to multiply their wealth. Imagine this scenario. You find a property worth $300,000 that generates $3,000 in monthly rent. Option 1, save for years until you have the full amount. Option 2, put down $60,000 as a down payment, finance the rest, and as long as the rent covers the mortgage and expenses, the property pays for itself over time. With option 2, you could potentially buy 5 properties with the same initial capital. This is the magic of leverage, using the bank's money, investors' money, or partners' money to exponentially increase your purchasing power and consequently your returns. Banks aren't the only sources of capital. Kiyosaki often talks about strategic partnerships where each person brings different resources to the table. Maybe you have the knowledge and the opportunity while someone else has the capital. Together, you can achieve what neither could do alone. Leverage extends beyond money. You can also leverage knowledge, time, and other people's efforts. A successful entrepreneur doesn't try to do everything alone. They build systems and teams that multiply their efforts. However, Kiyosaki warns, leverage is like fire. It can heat your home or burn it to the ground. Used without proper knowledge, it can lead to financial ruin. That's why financial education must come before applying this principle. As he often provocatively states, the rich use leverage to grow exponentially. The poor and middle class fear debt because they never learned how to use it to their advantage. Ask yourself, are you avoiding leverage entirely out of fear, or are you learning to use it strategically to build wealth? Think for a moment. Whose financial advice are you following? Your parents who worked their whole lives in stable jobs, that uncle who invests conservatively for retirement, your accountant who focuses on minimizing taxes, or maybe that friend who is always talking about the latest can't-miss investment opportunity. The difference in results was astronomical. One ended life dependent on retirement benefits and government assistance. The other built a financial empire that provided true freedom. Kiyosaki challenges you to carefully observe who is advising you. Does this person drive the car you dream of driving, live where you dream of living, have the time freedom you desire? If not, why follow their map? The rich think differently. They see opportunities where others see problems. They take calculated risks while others avoid any risk. They invest in financial education while others invest in entertainment. They buy assets first, while others buy liabilities thinking they are assets. It's not just about imitating specific actions, but absorbing a completely different mindset. As Kiyosaki often says, it's not what you know that matters, it's what you do with what you know. Seek mentors who have already reached where you want to be. Read biographies of successful people. Join groups and communities where abundant thinking is the norm, not the exception. Distance yourself from people who constantly talk about why something can't be done or why you should settle for less. As Kiyosaki provocatively states, if you want to fly with eagles, you can't keep clucking with chickens. This simple change, carefully choosing whom you take advice from, can be the most powerful catalyst for your financial transformation. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a Midas touch with money, turning almost any business into gold, while others struggle financially even with impressive academic backgrounds? The answer doesn't lie in traditional IQ, but in something Kiyosaki calls financial intelligence. This specific form of intelligence is rarely measured in schools or valued in resumes, but it is what truly separates the wealthy from the rest. Kiyosaki defines it as the ability to solve financial problems. The bigger the problem you can solve, the greater your financial reward. Think about it. Most people respond to financial difficulties with the same programmed reactions. Working more hours, getting a second job, cutting expenses, borrowing money. These are temporary solutions that only perpetuate the cycle of scarcity. A person with high financial intelligence faces the same problems and sees hidden opportunities. Where others see only a declining neighborhood, they identify the next booming real estate area. Where others see only rising expenses, they create a business to meet the new demand. This intelligence works like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And the exercises are real financial problems that you face and solve. Each challenge overcome not only improves your immediate situation, but permanently increases your ability to generate wealth in the future. Kiyosaki challenges the notion that money is a scarce resource that must be carefully hoarded. For those with high financial intelligence, money is abundant and constantly in motion. The issue is not how much you have, but how much you can control and direct. Think about how you react when an investment opportunity arises. Is your first instinct to list all the reasons why it wouldn't work? Or do you automatically look for creative ways to make the deal happen? This difference in mindset is crucial. True financial intelligence manifests not only in making money, but in keeping it, protecting against taxes and inflation, multiplying it through smart investments, and safeguarding it with proper legal structures. As Kiyosaki provocatively asks, is your financial problem really a lack of money or a lack of ideas on how to generate money. Most people spend their entire lives trying to solve the wrong problem. Developing your financial intelligence means constantly challenging your limits, seeking new knowledge, and being willing to make mistakes. Because it is through mistakes, not successes, that this type of intelligence grows the most. Have you ever avoided making an important financial decision out of fear of failure? Have you ever passed on a promising investment opportunity because what if it goes wrong? Dominated your thoughts? If so, you're not alone. And according to Kiyosaki, this may be the biggest obstacle between you and true wealth. The fear of failure is a paralyzing force that keeps millions of people trapped in financial comfort zones that, ironically, are not comfortable at all in the long run. Kiyosaki observes something fascinating. The rich are not less afraid than others. They have simply developed a different relationship with failure. Think of the great entrepreneurs you admire. Almost all of them have stories of bankruptcies, failed projects, and costly mistakes. The crucial difference is that they see these failures not as final verdicts on their ability, but as indispensable learning laboratories. Kiyosaki provokes, losers avoid failure, winners use failure as a springboard. This simple shift in perspective, seeing failure as an educational event rather than a definition of who you are, can completely transform your financial trajectory. The traditional education system reinforces our fear of making mistakes. From an early age, we are conditioned to believe that failing is shameful, that making mistakes means we are not smart or capable enough. This programming is particularly toxic when applied to finances. Kiyosaki shares how his rich dad encouraged him to make mistakes while he was young, when the consequences were smaller. You can learn to ride a bike now, falling a few times, or you can wait until you're 40, when the fall will be much more painful. The financial market is ruthless toward this kind of fear. Those paralyzed by the fear of losing money often end up making the worst possible decision, making no decision at all. Meanwhile, inflation silently erodes their purchasing power, and valuable opportunities go unnoticed. Replace the question, "What if I fail?" with, "What can I learn if this doesn't go as expected?" This simple reframe transforms failure from a dreaded outcome into a valuable source of data for future decisions. Start small, fail quickly, learn constantly. This is the formula Kiyosaki advocates for developing the financial resilience that characterizes the truly successful. As he frequently challenges, do you want security or do you want freedom? You can't have both. And the uncomfortable truth is that in an ever-changing world, the excessive pursuit of financial security may be the greatest risk of all. Have you ever wondered why some billionaires pay proportionally less in taxes than you? Or why so many people work from January to April just to pay the government? This is one of the best-kept secrets of the truly wealthy, and Kiyosaki is not afraid to expose it openly. Most people see taxes as an inevitable obligation, a burden, to be carried with resignation. Taxes are as certain as death, says the popular saying. But the rich understand something that completely transforms their relationship with taxation. The tax code is not just a set of rules to collect money, it is a manual of incentives for behaviors the government wants to encourage. Kiyosaki points out a surprising truth. The tax code was written for entrepreneurs and investors, not employees. Employees pay taxes first and spend what is left. Smart business owners spend first on legitimate business expenses and only pay taxes on what remains. Think about it. When you are an employee, your salary is taxed before it even reaches your account. But as a business owner or investor, you can legally deduct business expenses, depreciation, loan interest, and a host of other costs before calculating the tax due. The difference in the final result is astronomical. This is not an invitation to evade taxes, quite the opposite. It is a call to educate yourself on how the system actually works and use it legally to your advantage, exactly as it was designed. Governments use taxes not only to collect revenue, but also to direct capital into specific sectors. When you invest in real estate, for example, many countries offer significant tax benefits because they want to encourage housing construction and availability. The same applies to investments in renewable energy, research and development, and other priority sectors. Kiyosaki challenges: the poor and middle class fight against taxes. The rich play the tax game. This shift in mindset, from seeing taxes as an enemy to viewing them as a strategic game with rules you can master, is transformative. Invest in tax education as much as you invest in other financial aspects. A good accountant is not an expense, it's an investment, provided they understand tax planning strategies, not just someone who fills out forms at the end of the year. As Kiyosaki provocatively asks, are you planning your financial life to minimize taxes, or are you just complaining about how much you pay? The answer to this question could be the difference between a life of financial struggle and one of true abundance. Have you ever noticed the paradox of traditional jobs? The more you work for someone else, the more skilled you become at making that person richer. This seemingly simple insight contains one of Kiyosaki's most powerful lessons on true financial independence. The traditional workforce conditions us to follow a set path. Study, get a good job at a reputable company, climb the corporate ladder. The problem: even at the top of this ladder, you are still working within a system designed to extract maximum value from your time and talent, while giving you just enough to keep you motivated to stay. Kiyosaki challenges this mindset with an uncomfortable question: why spend your life building someone else's dream? Think about it. The most productive hours of your life, your creativity, your energy, all dedicated to building an asset that will never be yours. According to Kiyosaki, the real wealth game requires you to be on the other side of the equation, not as an employee but as an owner, not as someone executing the plan, but as someone creating the plan, not as a piece on the board, but as someone defining the game's rules. This is a radical shift in perspective. While employees are trained to avoid mistakes, entrepreneurs are trained to try new approaches. While employees seek stability, entrepreneurs seek exponential growth opportunities. While employees are paid for their time, entrepreneurs are rewarded for their results. Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, one of his most famous concepts, illustrates this clearly. Employees, E, and self-employed, S, work for money and are limited by the hours available in a day. Business owners, B, and investors, I, have systems that work for them, multiplying their time and capital. You don't need to make a radical transition immediately. Kiyosaki often recommends starting a side business while still keeping the security of your job. Use evenings and weekends to build something that can eventually replace and surpass your current income. The type of business matters less than the model. Focus on creating something that can operate without your constant presence, has scalability potential, and generates real value. The goal is not just to replace a job with another form of work, but to create a system that continues to grow even when you're not actively working on it. As Kiyosaki provocatively asks, do you want to spend your life selling your time, or would you rather create something that generates value perpetually? This is the fundamental difference between working for money and making money work for you. Throughout this journey, through Robert Kiyosaki's teachings, we have explored principles that deeply challenge the conventions of the traditional financial system. These are not just superficial tips on saving a few dollars here and there. They are fundamental changes in how you think about money, work, and the true meaning of wealth. Financial education as a foundation, work as a vehicle for learning, not just income. the clear distinction between assets that enrich and liabilities that impoverish, the creation of multiple streams of passive income, the control of emotions. In financial decisions, the discipline of paying yourself first, the strategic use of leverage, the wisdom of learning from those who have already achieved what you desire, the constant development of financial intelligence, the courage to face failure as a teacher, the understanding of taxes as a strategic game, and finally, building your own business as the path to true freedom. Each of these principles on its own can improve your financial situation. But it is in their combination, consistently applied over time, that the true transformative power lies. What Kiyosaki offers us is not just a route to having more money, it's a path to something much more valuable: freedom. The freedom to choose how to spend your time, the freedom to decide with whom to work, the freedom to pursue purposes that truly matter to you without the constant pressure of paying bills. This message is urgent in a world where many live trapped in cycles of debt and financial anxiety. Share these principles with those you care about: friends suffocated by jobs they hate, family members struggling with mounting debt, young people about to make critical decisions about education and career. True wealth is not reserved for the few chosen ones or for those born into privileged families. It is available to anyone willing to question conventional thinking, continuously educate themselves, and apply these principles with discipline and determination. As Kiyosaki often says, money is just an idea, and powerful ideas, when shared, have the potential to transform not only individual lives, but entire families for generations. Share this message with those who need to change their financial life, not as someone offering a magic solution, but as someone presenting a proven path, a path that requires effort and a shift in mindset, but can lead to the true wealth and freedom that we all deserve. The first step to transformation is information. The second is action. May these principles inspire both in you and in everyone you share them with.